South Africa is gearing up for local government elections later on this year, and the new Political Party Funding Act comes into effect on Thursday. Well, this means any donation above 100,000 rand has to be disclosed by both the donor and the recipient of the funds. So let's take this discussion even further with the Chief Electoral Officer from the IEC, Mr. Mamabolo. Always good to talk to you. Good morning to you, sir. So give us some context and just remind us of what this act aims to achieve. We know that in a couple of days it will be fully in effect.
I think at the end of the day, the Act is intended to insulate our political system from external undue influences or influences by private interest, so that ultimately democracy must function well and respond to the needs of all South Africans and be insulated from this foreign interest which might derail our democratic cause.
Right. So in terms of, transparency, accountability and just disclosure, what does this then mean for not only political parties but also for individual party members as well as the donors respectively?
I think the regime that has been introduced on the 1st will strengthen the position of the voter, insofar as the voter will now be in a position to make an informed choice in terms of the party that they elect during the elections, on the basis that they will know who the funders of that party are, and can reconcile their vote with the nature of the donations received and the sources of those donations. So it does place ultimately the voter in a much stronger position. But I think as a system, as a political system, transparency can always be good because, as I indicated, we are likely to be aware and obviate possibilities of those private interests that might want to unduly influence the course of our national life.
Right. Mr. Mamabolo, I'm sure you are aware that there's been quite a keen interest in the CR17 bank statements, and I'm sure South Africans would like to know that, in retrospect, once the Act is in full, effect come Thursday, will we see this Act going back to political parties in the past, seeing, who their donors are, or will this be more on a clean slate and only account for donors and donations and, party involvement from the 1st of April?
Our legal system functions on the basis that the law does not apply retrospectively. So the position is that it will work prospectively, meaning anything that parties receive above 100,000 rands from the 1st of April 2021 would have to be disclosed. So it's a clean slate from the 1st of April 2021.
Right. And I also understand that you held a workshop just last week, addressing certain questions and concerns, but also clarifying certain things. So in terms of clarification, what happens should the IEC find any irregular donations? What are the consequences?
The Act does provide from a penal system which functions at 2 levels. There's a criminal level as well as a civil level. At the criminal level, a person who continuously transgresses the provisions of the Act might be incarcerated for a term of imprisonment not exceeding 5 years upon conviction. And in terms of the civil sanctions, the Electoral Court is entrusted the responsibility to mete out administrative fines up to 1 million rands. So there are far and wide-ranging civil and criminal sanctions that are embedded in the Act.
And we both know that prevention is usually preferred over cure. So does the IEC have the necessary monitoring compliance mechanisms in place to ensure that you will ensure that, sort of transgressions are avoided as much as possible?
Well, the IEC is going to have to function in partnership with the audit industry, because every year an auditor must audit, a public auditor must audit the books of the party and express a view whether those finances of the party have been run in accordance with the Act, and where they find that there are aberrations or even misdemeanors in the running of the finances of the party, that auditor must express that opinion. And upon receipt of the audit report, then the IEC will be at large to decide what course of action to take, whether institute an investigation fully or to refer the matter to the electoral court and or lay criminal charges. So it's going to have to work in partnership with the audit industry.
Well, we'll leave it then. Thank you so much for talking to us and clarifying some issues there, Mr. Mamabolo from the IEC.